So let's get this clear. If your goal is to be a content creator, you just want to explore and express your creative expression and see what sticks, I'm not the strategist or mentor for you. Only, number one, I do not believe that is a sustainable model. I do not believe that that is a profitable model. And I absolutely believe that in a long run, it is a waste of time. Of course, if creativity expression is your only sole goal, because not everything is about money, but if you're a business owner, profitability is your number one responsibility. So if that's you, it's okay. I cannot help you in that because I do not stand behind that business model. However, if you're a service provider, you are a personal brand business, most importantly, you are a multi-passionate CEO who is highly intuitive, you are a creative visionary, and you are spirit-led, then my work is for you. Why this is important is I have been across both pendulum swing. In the first 10 years of my career, I was working in million and billion dollar enterprises. So I started my career with auditing, with restructuring businesses who are failing, businesses who are going hardships, and also I learned how to read financial statements and how to manage financial statements. There's a big difference between managing someone else's portfolio, someone else's business versus running your own business. And I think that that's what make my expertise really unique, especially in personal brand and creator-led business, because what I've been seeing, and I also had to clean up my own mess, is that when your business is brand first, you first, your expertise, your lived experience, your unique story comes first. First of all, there's a lot of attachment. There is a lot of, it's part of who you are. It's your soul's work. It is what, you're put on this planet to do. And I think that is a really important element to kickstart your business, that you will do it regardless of whether you get paid or not. But it comes a certain point, it comes to a certain level where you hit a glass ceiling. And I have seen I haven't met any creator, any entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs, that hasn't been burnt out. But I see this across the board, both men and women. So it's not a exclusively women situation. But what I do see, the burnout really, number one is, there is a glass ceiling. We all have a glass ceiling, and that glass ceiling usually reflects to us what our beliefs around money, what our mindsets around business, and also how we see time, effort in money. And for most of us, there is this ingrained understanding of beliefs around how much time you put in equals to how much money you make. Until you can break that and start leveraging either your skills through your experience, and that's what I teach inside the Corporate to CEO program, where, any entrepreneurs that has belt of expertise, lived experience, and unique stories. If you don't have any of the above, your number one job is to go get experience. That's it. Simple. Don't have to scam people. Don't have to do all the dodgy stuff. Go get some real world experience. And so there is this, so our glass ceiling come from our internal understanding of money, or how much we deserve, before there is this protection of, okay, if I hit a certain level of money, I'm going to be seen as greedy. I'm going to be seen as all of this. It is just this collective beliefs that we have in our mind. And so that is part one of the work. And number two is most of us start off with learning from someone else. So there is this element of blueprint from someone else's blueprint. And in today's world, really, that's how the entire internet industry is that there will be a level of, I don't know if consumerism is the word, but I think what I really was trying to convey upon is there is this element of lifestyle business that is not actually the desire that God has put in our heart, right? You do have these big dreams and goals, but there is part of it that's not actually what you want. Give you an example. I had this dream. I mean, I lived out in the jungle for a few years when I was living in Bali. And also I went through this moment of like this lifestyle porn of, oh, I want to be a homestead wife. I want to like live out in the country. First of all, I love nature, but that's why I live close to the jungle, because I like nature to look after itself. That's how God has designed it. I can't keep plants alive. So if I'm going to homestead, if I'm going to plant my own food, the food is going to probably not survive. So it's not my strength. Great at cooking, great at hosting, great at nurturing people. But planting fruits, growing food, not my forte. Sometimes you got to know yourself, right? Second part of it, nothing in me would love to ever milk a cow. I love raw milk. I like to walk around without shoes. Well, I spent 3 years of not wearing shoes most times. Do I want to milk a cow? I don't think so. I don't think so. So there are certain things that I had to like reconcile. Like, that's not my dream. It might sound like a fantasy. It might sound great at that time. We go through these moments, right? 2025, where we are, it's a lot. It's a lot. So take a moment and acknowledge that. But point is, there is a part of this success blueprint or how we build our business is of someone else. We take on different strategies, and it's part of entrepreneurship. It's part of entrepreneurship. You got to test and figure out what's not for you, because you can't just sit around and hoping to get very clear on what's for you and then you get started. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You take action. It's almost like you just keep peeling off, shaving off. It's like there's a rock and you're slowly shaving off parts that's not of you, that's not God's design for you. It's not God's destiny for you. You just kind of cut it off, and then you're like, all right, this is what I want. I now kind of know what my number is, because money needs a purpose, right? If you just have this blanket statement of, I just want to make money because I want to make an impact, I want to change many lives, like all of these, it's not going to lead you somewhere because it's not specific enough. And money has a purpose. I believe that everyone is meant to live an abundant life. That's how God has created it to be. But I also stand on this fact that not everyone is meant to be a millionaire or like making millions per year and running $1 million company. Because what it takes to run those companies while maintaining a level of sanity, while honoring God and Jesus, while having a healthy relationship with your family, it's a ninja sport, right? So if that is not your goal, it's kind of echoing part 2 of that. If it's not your goal, it's okay. You can live a really, really good life and free life, making probably $250K a year, about 20 to 30 hours a week. That's really the roadmap that I teach inside corporate to CEO. That is a premise that I stand on. Like, if you master the skills, the foundation of that, you're pretty solid on that. Because the part about what I said about managing $1 million company and actually creating content and showing up online, for me, I know it's my purpose. I'm born to do this work. Like, even if I don't get paid, even in those moments where, this year was a year that I took off Instagram, like most of this year, because, I gave my life to Jesus and everything needs to be sanctified. I would still I would do research. I like to put concepts together. I like to, draw frameworks like that. And it's just what I do. It's like I'm a creative scientist. I am a creative scientist. I know some of y'all like, how is that even possible? It is what it is. That's what I know I would do. But also, I went through a phase of, I'm very fortunate of I've set a solid foundation with my consulting business, and I've had the decade long of experience in corporate, because that has allowed me to have spaces to play creatively and understanding funnel, understanding customer flow. And a lot of that I've also learned it through my work before I became an entrepreneur. But even then, it is hard work, in the sense that you really need to spend time to understand the mechanics behind it. It is a system, and it all has to work together, into one whole self-sustaining system, but it takes time to learn. And I believe that those who made it to run the $1 million company, and also something that you continue to do it, and being able to have a healthy boundaries, being able to have like work, technology has a time for it, but also being able to be present with life. Like, you need to have this obsession over it, that you would do it regardless, that you have this genuine interest. If you do not, my advice for you is to go find that thing. Because what I see, and I find myself being in this boat, and I had to be really honest with myself. Do I want to go explore a different way? Like, for example, pursuing a PhD perhaps. But I was like, no, I really want to build a $1 million company, a $10 million company. That's what I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur through and through. I'm put in this planet to create things, to create change through businesses and be a wealth multiplier. So I had to really fully own that. And then I was like, okay, now it's my responsibility to re-establish the relationship I want to have with my business, with social media, with AI. And how can I do this while prioritizing what is important to me? Because I don't know about you, like when I go through and I'm just like sick of like the people who are complaining about content are the ones that are contributing to like you could have channeled that energy to create something that truly matters. You're able to channel that energy to create something that actually creates positive change. And like it's like you're trying to create this like, all right, we all like, let's get into these woe is me into like I'm creative, but internet's causing all this problem, and then it's just like this thing. And I really, really, really despise like that as a marketing strategy. You're just being lazy. You're not using your brain that God has given you. It's like, it's easy, right? I there are moments where I've created content for shock value because, well, it's marketing 101. But at the same time, like, mate, you could have used the same energy to create something longer. And there is a threshold. There is this boring period that you have to sit through that. Like, there is no, like, creatives, this. When you create things, there is this, like, incredible flow state where you are so excited, where you are like, oh my God, like, you're just in flow, and you would not trade that for anything else. But also, if you want to build a $1 million or like healthy 6 figures business, you need to also understand business. You need to do the boring stuff or pay someone to do it. But what I've noticed, what I've also observed is that if you are a personal brand and creator-led business where your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, your unique story is the asset, is the intellectual property, you have to go through the process of understanding the ins and out of your business, because that is what is unique to you. That is your intellectual property. I've made the mistake of outsourcing decisions that I don't want to make to people, and it's just really washing money down the drain. Like, I'm the CEO, right? And I always see these across people. It's like, you're hiring a VA, and you expect the VA to give you strategy. That's the job of a strategist. And that's what I help my clients to do. So if you are going beyond 6 figures and you want to start mapping out your unique IP, then let's have a chat. I'm going to put a application form down below. This is for those whom already have a solid unique process, because I can't work on what you don't have. And what I would take you through is my DNA method. So that DNA is going to be the brand, like the asset and the part of your business that is irreplaceable in the age of AI. Just like how God has made each and every one of us with our own unique DNA. This DNA that we extract, it's the unique DNA for your business. So D stands for discovery. Discovery, this is where we really go through and extract every part of your expertise, your lived experience, and your unique story up to date. This is why I say I can't do this if you do not have a body of work that is ready to be refined. I can't work on what you don't have. So that process for me personally, it took me about 18 months to get clear on that. But now that I've filtered out the process, I can take it with you through a lot at a way shorter time. And I think one of the reasons why many people are not actually, God has created all of us through a unique way. Like we are all created for a unique purpose. However, what happens is we don't actually spend the time to really understand what is our unique blueprint. And it took me a long time, right? Like I did not see that 10 years before I became an entrepreneur is such an asset. And, what I'm able to, like, I get to solve the problem of burnout, and burnout really most of the time is lack of clarity and lack of direction of where you need to go next, because you've hit the glass ceiling and because you have built it upon someone else's blueprint. See how I just built upon the entire concept? I was only able to do it because I spent time in that discovery process of what make me unique, what is my expertise, what is my lived experience, real world experience, not what you see in quantum, not what you see when you're astral projecting. Like that stuff is demonic. We're not going into that. But if that's the only experience you have, go get real experience. And the third part is unique story. Because your unique story, my unique experience is what makes my solution like category of one that no one else is able to teach it the way that I do. And I have now distilled it into a very solid process, into a very, very solid structure, because I know a lot of people speak about that, and there are a lot of really creative women speak about that. And when you listen to it, it causes more overwhelm. It causes more confusion because they can't break down the structure and the strategy behind it. And God has shown me in the last 12 months that this is a strength of mine. And I've spoken to many women who experience burnout, this massive creative idea. What they need is structure, and the importance of structure and strategy is not replaceable with any breath work. And I get it. I have swung across the pendulum many times that I'm just like, I don't want, like, whatever I learned in 10 years. No, I'm just going to be the creative, multi-passionate me. And it built to a certain extent, and I was burnt out. My business was a mess, and I was putting so much effort, energy into something that has zero return. Again, yes, there is moments. That's what hobbies are for, where you create and you do things for the sake of it. But if you're running a business and you want to stay in business in the next year, in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years, before you think about what AI is going to do in your business or what's happening, like really clean your house, look in your business, look at your data, which also it happens to be a strength of mine. So, that is what I do in my 4 weeks one-on-one intensive. I would have both of that application down below. So that's discovery. You need to be very clear on what are the experience, what are the body of work that you are stand on up until this moment. Okay, moving on. N is naming it. So this is where you turn this massive beauty of body of work that you've created up until now to naming it. So in naming it, you got to get very clear on who is it that you serve. Who is it that you serve? This is not a question that you answer overnight. Mine took me, again, 18 months to keep refining, because you've built the work, right? You've done this, and this is actually very relevant for my multi-passionate, multi-dimensional women. It's like, you are a layered human being, right? So for me, I don't just build business. I have solid business experience, but also I'm very spiritual. I follow Jesus. I have gone through 6 to 7 years of nomadic life. I'm layered. So the people I speak to has multiple layer. And again, back to what I was saying at the start of complaining. It's my job as a business owner, as a leader, to figure out how to communicate effectively, because I can't expect my clients, my audience, to know what I'm teaching, what I'm selling, what I'm helping them with, if I'm unclear myself. I really want that to land for you, is that you can't expect your audience, your buyers, to get clear for you. So when they are unclear of what you're selling, you're the problem. You're the problem. It took me a couple of years to realize that, because I was great at, capturing attention. That was something that I'm gifted at, but I wasn't communicating effectively in a way that I know I need to. And there's nothing to romanticize about that. If you want to run a business and not a hobby, that's your responsibility that you have to say yes to. Right? And saying yes to your responsibility doesn't make you any less feminine. God made you a woman. He did not lose his mind when he made you. So you are a woman when you take responsibility. Okay? Like, just get that clear for a moment. So we have that. So you got to be able to communicate effectively, and you need to know who is it that you serve, and it has to be one that is fully anchored in you. For me, I'm very clear that mine is ambitious, purpose driven, creative visionary who are highly intuitive and spirit led, and they are a multi-passionate CEO. So they want to build a business that is on purpose, that is profitable, and that is irreplaceable in the age of AI. Simple. But for me to be able to say now, through my full body, through my entirety, that I could stand behind this statement, again, it's a process that I couldn't get to without the discovery, because I need to see what are the steps that I have walked, what are those that I have authority to speak about. And this is relevant to the part of where I said that a lot of us built on someone else's success blueprint. And one of the things I did is, like, I have very solid results and business acumen and experience, but I compare to someone who have built a $30 million business. And I was like wondering, why do I feel like I was never enough? Why does it feel like I was never there? It's because it was a scorecard that wasn't mine, right? My clients, those whom I can help, some of you, that is irrelevant. What I can help is, how can I extract the DNA of your business so that you remain on purpose, profitable, and irreplaceable, right? So, okay, so you need to know who alone is not enough. You need to know how. What is your unique method? How are you going to help these people? Like, now you know that you might resonate with what I've just said, but how can I help you? My DNA method is very clear. Each and every one is different, right? If I've worked with 4 of you guys right now, your story, your who, is very different because we all have our own unique DNA. But I have the structure, my system, my proprietary system of how I take people through. It's something that only I can teach. So my how becomes the IP, the intellectual property of my business. So that's the naming part, where you turn this range of beautiful body of work, of expertise, of experience. Now you're naming it, you're giving it a name. Mine is DNA method. Yours could be something else. You got to name it. You got to name something, like, so that who and how. And then the third part, A, is architect. Then you can work on the business strategy. Then you can work on the business model. Then you can actually build the blocks of your business. D and N is very, very important if you are a personal brand business, because your essence, who you are, your unique experience, who God has made you, how God has made you, is the very pulse. It is the very fire. It is the very essence of your business. And praise God that now I'm able to really articulate it in a very strategic way, because this is not new in the sense that I've been teaching this since day one, but it was very fluffy. It was very purposeful. It was very the flow, it works back in the day because there was no such content, but now people are overwhelmed with it. How many of y'all are listening to this that goes, yes, I have so much clarity now. I ran this with a few people and they were like, oh my God, I just get so much clarity now. I see things differently. And that is what my gift is. I bring order, I bring clarity, I bring direction to the chaos in your business that is leading you to burnout. Thank you, Jesus. That just came out for me. See? That is my body of work that I know I can teach even when I sleep, when I close my eyes. So, architect. So this is where we really look in the business side of things. What business model are you using? How are you planning out at least 12 months ahead? What is your goal? What is that number? How is that going to work out? What product suites? How are you going to build that product suites? And this is one of the kryptonite of multi-passionate women, and I've done it, where, like, and there are people who are teaching you that you can build as many businesses as you want, like as many brands, and you sell whatever you want. Yes, you can. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to apply anything that I tell you. You do what you want. But is it giving you the peace? Is it giving you the profit? Is it giving you the purpose that you want in your business? Because there's one thing that I can do it, but does it actually produce a fruit? Probably not. Because I was releasing a lot of things, but I basically am creating a new business every time I launch something, because the delivery is not streamlined. And I got into this fragmentation of where is that structure? So your product suite is a very thought out process. And it is something, if you want one that lasts, if you want one that encapsulates every part of your beingness and your multi-passionate personality, like what makes you unique, but also you are solving a very specific high-level problem, you need to go through D&N before you can actually come with an offer that is scalable long-term. And once you have this structure, that's the second part of that, is in executing this vision and this structure, there is a lot of testing, a lot of experimenting that is required, which means this is great. You need to actually map out, like your roadmap. You can see it here. This is it. This is it. You need to have that as the framework on how you get to execute daily. Because now that I have this, when I wake up, I'm a woman. I'm a very, very sensitive woman, and I have big emotions. And this is how I run my business without collapsing, without waking up thinking what I need to execute today. And then you have to, I've done that, and it just is not good for my mental health. And this is also why I see a lot of people are burnt out. It's just, now you go to that, okay, you have a structure. It doesn't mean that you follow that to a T, but you know where you are going. You have a direction, you have clarity, and then Bob's your uncle. Bob's your uncle, you get to experiment it. Okay, this doesn't work. You're not going to go down a spiral, because you have your body of work, you know who you're helping, you know what your unique method is, all right, this is not working. It could be a messaging problem. Maybe my ideal client avatar isn't clear enough. Maybe then what part of your communication needs to be tweaked, and not burn the entire thing down because something is not working. Because you have to, that's why D&N, it's all the spirit, the soul, the essence of your business that keeps the fun, that keeps the aliveness, but also you can look at data. Because data does not lie. Data does not lie. So, we have a bunch of people in the matrix who are super logical and everything is data driven. And then with people like us who just decide to, skip the matrix and go and find the truth. And then some of you may have found Jesus like me. And we realize, there is you don't be someone that knows how to read data to be able to look at something that is truth, that is the same today, yesterday, and forever. Like math, like numbers. It's not going to lie. It has no emotions. So you can look at it. Okay. Then you can maybe see, all right, people are coming. People are reaching out wanting to work with me. But then I'm not closing sales. Then it's not your marketing thing. You don't need to be more magnetic. You don't need more audience. What you need is people already talking to you. Why are they not signing up with you? Is it because you fall out with your communication, because you're not being authoritative in the sense that you're not actually owning your lane, owning your thing down the road, in actually taking them down a very clear path? Maybe it's because you start to become a friend when they come to your DM, and you start to oh yeah, it would be nice if you want, again, all of these are mistakes that I've made in the past, right? So now, instead of thinking, oh my God, it's my self-worth, it's my, I have worked in $1 million and $1 billion portfolio before, and I fell into the mistakes of, oh my God, maybe it's, maybe I need to do some whatever, ritual to figure out what's my worth, mate. It's a numbers thing. It's a conversion thing. So I'm telling you now, so that you don't have to go through the mess. You don't have to go through the agony of going through that only to realize like why, like how, what. And that's one of the reasons why I'm actually bringing forth really solid business, like financial education for entrepreneurs. Number one is because, well, that is actually my expertise. I have postgrad in accounting, stopped practicing as an accountant. So I stopped paying for that membership, but I had 10 years of experience in that. And second of all, I mention that a lot, and I know many of you feel that, because I think it's a point that I want to get across is I'm a very spiritual sensitive, right? Like I understand the third heaven. I can see through beyond the surface. I'm all about the supernatural flow, but supernatural flow activations, all of that does not replace sound strategy. And the reason why so many of y'all are stuck in action, why so many of you guys are freeze or like in this spiral of building things and burning it down, building things and burning it down, is because you don't have a clear roadmap of where you're going and you're not committing to that one thing. So the moment something changes in your circumstance, you make it a whole thing versus, okay, like this is my roadmap. Today I'm feeling like -10, but it's okay. My roadmap, it's 100%. So I'm going to let that roadmap hold me for today while let me tend to my precious emotions. And so that is what's required. Strategy. The taboo word that is in the world of people who have a soul, people who are spirit-led. Like, I'm here to break that because that is what the Holy Spirit has showed me. It's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You have all of this and you're just like, and I believe that I had to go through that. And I believe that, in all areas of our lives is that sometimes you have to know what's not that thing. Like I had to go through like all the demonic or what I thought it was God to realize when Jesus showed up, like he's the way, he's the truth, he's the life. Just like business, it's just like business. And that's why I really want to bring this business education, because a lot of people are great with mindset, but that is not a replacement for business acumen. Mindset is important. Without the right mindset, we wouldn't have been able to break the glass ceiling, because how we think about business, how we think about making money makes a whole lot of difference. But mindset alone is not going to get you there. And in fact, it might cause you to go down this realm of fragmentation psychosis because you're so much in your head. There's no roadmap of where you need to head to. There is no direction. There is no clarity. And clarity is not about being more magnetic. And another part of that is so many of y'all are picking up random ingredients, the tactical stuff. How do you turn your Instagram, like all these different random things without a complete recipe. And that's your roadmap. So you can have the most expensive, exquisite ingredients to build a cake. If you don't have the recipe to bake a cake, that's also a reason why I don't really bake, because if you miss a tablespoon of baking soda, your cake becomes a rock. So is business. Like y'all are not lacking in ideas. Y'all are not lacking in skills. Like what you need is a structure and a strategy that you can commit to at least 90 days. But at the very minimum is 12 months. And then it's your responsibility to figure out how do you want to navigate through that? How do you want to make that work? Like it's also a responsible question, right? Like it's a responsibility question. It's like, what is your responsibility as a business owner? Like manifestation, like all this is not the only skills, right? It gets you to a certain way, but it might get you to where you are, but it's not going to get you to where you want to go. And that's the glass ceiling. And sometimes it's not about how many breath work or how many release you need to make. And why this becomes so clear for me is because when I gave my life to Jesus, it's like, it's done. I don't have to figure out because there's really no way to figure out, I don't know if you can do it. I think I tried to understand like every part of my childhood trauma. I'm like, no, I need a roadmap to move forward. And with Jesus, what I gotta say is, help me break any chains that I know of, that I don't know of, and I don't need to know. I just need to know that those chains are no longer on my shoulder to move on to where I need to be, to where God has called me to go. Like, I need those chains off my shoulders. Like, that's it. I don't need to breathe my way to figure out what's wrong with it. No. And that's what I feel a lot of you need, this honest truth right now. There is a time and season for that, but there's also a time and season to build. And there is nothing sexy, there is nothing life, there's nothing like sexy about it. But also sexy is just spirit of lust or whatever. You got to do the boring stuff. You got to lay the brick by brick if you want the fruit of profitable, on purpose, and irreplaceable in 3 to 5 years. And I'm going to leave this with you. I'm going to leave this question with you. Make a note here. Where is it? Oh yeah, it's here. If you haven't asked yourself this question, it's time to get serious. Will your business still be here, thriving and multiplying 5 years from now? And if yours, do you feel confident in your current messaging, voice, and infrastructure to support the growth and disruption that comes with the AI evolution? So, you gotta really ask yourself that question. Do not get distracted. If those of y'all who are into truth seeking like me and like to go down rabbit hole of cabal and all that stuff, digital ID is a thing, but do not let that distract you from actually building the business. Okay. That's the message that I have for you. And there's different ways that you can work with me right now. So one of them is the corporate to CEO program. This is for anyone who wants to turn their expertise into recurring revenue, specifically for any creative service providers like marketing, branding, high level strategy site, and or you have expertise from corporate, like in tech, in consulting, in professional services, ideally 5 to 10 years, which means you already have the nectar, you already have the essence. What you need is to be able to translate that into an offer that communicates value, and also being able to sell that. And the next most important part is being able to do that quick without needing to build an audience and thinking you need 20, because building an audience and personal brand is a long-term game. It is a long-term game, and if your focus is revenue, this corporate to CEO program is the program that you need. It's foundational. It's the business, there's a lot of business education around that. And also my real life example, breaking down on how you can implement and apply to your life. So I'm going to put that down below. And if you join before the 23rd of November, there is going to be a $500 off the investment. I'm going to put the link down below that if you click on that link directly, it would apply the coupon code at the checkout. That is going to be the best investment that you make to build your 6-figure foundation. And for those of y'all who are ready to take it to the next level and you want speed, you want precision, you need intimacy, and you just want to lay the foundation and get very clear ahead of 2026. There are 2 options on that. You have the 4-week one-on-one intensive. That is more of strategic visioning. We're going to get clear on, where you're heading. That's more of the business side of things, the architect, your business model, your product suite, what is it that you need to move forward? And then that comes with the business audit, because if you're not looking at your current data, then, you got to see where your leak is, and you got to see where your biggest leverage is in your business. Sometimes it's just as simple as just plugging a hole and amplify what's already working. That's something that we can do in that 4 weeks and really set you up for 2026. And the second one is a 6 months or 12 months experience. That is more of a mentorship and a consulting, and I'll run you through the entire DNA process of what I've taken you through, so that I'm actually helping you to extract what you have. You're naming it and actually building the business model and building the foundation to scale your legacy and really finding that $1 million value that you have. So, corporate to CEO is you start with your 100K value. With the DNA method, it's all right, now we are working on your $1 million value. It's an amplification. And this is the final part that I really want to remind you of building business. Business is simple. You can't skip your way, just like how a baby, you need to spend 9 months in a womb, incubate in a womb before you actually become a human on, actually out of your mother's womb. And then you can't run when you haven't learned how to crawl. So is business. There is right things in the right order, and what most people have is they're building things on the wrong order. Like what I said, your glass ceiling, that's your personal mindset, and then you build on someone else's success blueprint. And the third one is you do not have a clear roadmap, and that is exactly what corporate to CEO really helps to move past that problem. And or if you want that one-on-one 6 months experience to really help you get clear on the DNA of your business, so that what you're building is on purpose, profitable, and irreplaceable in the next 5 years and beyond. All the links is going to be down below. If you have any questions at all, send me a message on Instagram and really ask yourself those questions and get moving. Get moving. You don't need any more breath work. You don't need any more nervous system work. All right? Get onto it. See you next time.